Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this tutorial we are going to learn about how we can use Selenium to connect to different cloud-based service providers to run our test cases in different operating systems, in different browsers, and different browser versions. There are various service providers available in the market who provide you the rental services using which one can connect to their environment based on our preferences on target operating systems and targeted browser versions. One can use their cloud-based systems to connect and execute test cases. So let's see what we are going to learn in this tutorial. Very first thing is that we will use Lambdatest environment to see how we can connect to their environment and use their capabilities for test execution. We will build a test case in our local machine using Selenium, Maven, and Eclipse. We will also build desired capabilities to connect from our local machine to Lambdatest cloud service provider. And also we will run the test case and see how the tests were executed uh, in Lambdatest. So let's first go to uh, Lambdatest website and see how Lambdatest looks like. So what I have done is I have created a dummy account which I am using to showcase you how one can use Lambdatest environment for um, uh, executing the test cases. How you can enroll to use Lambdatest services is simply just go to Google and search Lambdatest uh, register, and Lambdatest generally provides 100 minutes of free uh, cloud-based access to their services. So what we have in the automation tab is a list of languages or scripting languages it supports for us to connect to their environment, that is Lambdatest environment, using which one can execute test cases. So using Java, you can leverage all of these frameworks, and using Python, you can use PyTest or robot framework. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn via Java language, hence we will go in here. As soon as you go there, you will see that there are a sample code has been provided to you using which you can connect to their environment. So once you start executing from your local machine by connecting to the Lambdatest environment, you will be coming to the test log tab where you will find the different different uh, logs of test executions which you had triggered from your local machine to Lambdatest environment. And depending on what you have configured in your capabilities, accordingly the test results will be shown. Like if you have opted for video recording of the test results, Lambdatest will record each and every actions which you had performed as a video recording to present you a test evidence. So you don't have to separately call and take the screenshots. There are many other options available like network logs or screenshots, which can be enabled and disabled basis depending on your uh, depending on your requirements. Now let's head over to Eclipse and let's create a Maven project. So what I will do is I will create a new project, and I will select Maven, a Maven project. Click next. Create a simple project. Next. So what I will do is like I will provide group ID as com.qe, provide the project name as Lambdatest demo, and click on finish. Let's go to the pom.xml file and add our dependencies. Let's head over to browser and search for Maven Selenium. I'll copy this and paste into our eclipse. Control A, reformat the code, run this as Maven build so that the required jar files get automatically downloaded. So as you can see that there is a folder called Maven dependencies which automatically got added because of what we have added in this pom.xml file. What we will do is we will head over to src test java folder and we will create a new class file and we will name this file as cloud demo, and let's add public static void main. Let's start writing our first test script. Now if you have added your Chrome driver into path variables, that is the environmental variables, then you don't need to uh, put system dot set properties web driver dot chrome dot driver and its corresponding path, which is in my case at this particular location. So I'm putting it over here slash chrome driver. But if you have added path, this particular path into into environmental variables, be it Windows machine or a Mac machine, you don't need to write this particular line. So since I have added uh, this particular path in my environmental variables, so I'm going to comment this particular line and I will simply create the web drive the driver object of Chrome driver. So let me go ahead and create it. Driver. What I'll do is I'll simply using this driver, I'll simply call Google. And I'll wait for 3 seconds. And simply test our sample test case which I have created just now, right? So let's do it now. Let's see if this particular code is working. And if this code is working, what we will do is we will customize this particular test case to be executed in Lambda test environment. So let's try running this test case. Let's save it. So as you can see, google.com is getting launched here. What I'll do is I'll simply quit this particular URL, and what we will do is we will try to build our test case to be executed in Lambda test. But before proceeding, let's add another step called driver.quit and run the test case again. After waiting 3 seconds, driver should die. Okay, the driver is closed. Now that we have built our test case, let's try building our desired capabilities, that is, which environment we want to connect in Lambda test. So suppose it is a Windows machine or it's a Mac machine, what browser we want to execute this particular test case, what version of that particular browser we need to execute that test case. So for that, we need to simply first comment this line of code, which is the driver object which we had created previously, that is the Chrome driver. And let's create a remote web driver. What I'll do is I will head over to Lambda test environment. I will click on the automation link and I'll click on Java, and I'll see that there is a sample code given to me which I can leverage in our test case. So what I'll do is I'll first copy these 3 lines of code which has my username, access key which is tagged to this username, and a remote web driver object, right? So let's go ahead and copy paste this particular piece of information. Remove invalid modifier. Okay. Now further, what we want to add is a list of capabilities which we want to use as part of test execution, right? So what I'll do is I'll copy this entire piece of code which is written and it provided to me like to build our capabilities, and I'll paste it into our test case. So here what we are telling the capabilities that the browser name should be Chrome, the version of the Chrome browser should be 92, the platform where I want to execute this test case is Windows 10. Now let's name this particular build as my first Lambda test execution. Sample test, Google search. Uh, what we have done is there are additional capabilities which is added, which is like network true, which is something related to record the network transactions going back and forth between your local machine and in Lambda test. So we are enabling video recording as well. What we can do is let's delete these additional lines of capabilities, and we don't need those. Next step is passing on these capabilities to a remote web driver. For that, again, I'll head it to Lambda test website and copy this particular piece of code which is provided to me and paste it over our IDE. Since we are using remote web driver, we have to import this package. which is malformed URL exception. Let's import the URL package as well, which is java.net. And our test case is more or less ready. Let's reformat the line of codes which we have. Control A, Control Shift F. So what we have here is a remote web driver, a list of capabilities which we have defined. So what we have defined is we will be using Windows 10 machine to execute our test case in Chrome driver, Chrome browser. Go, head over to Lambdatest and see where the test execution will be recorded. It will be recorded here, the test logs. In test log, as of now, I don't have any test execution records. What we can do is now simply run the test case from our Eclipse. Okay, right click, run the test case. Let's see how it behaves. Let's head over to our Lambdatest URL. So I was wrong about the test log. It is under automation tab where you can see your test execution. So here what we have seen is like whatever information we had provided in the build capability is getting recorded in Lambdatest here, and and corresponding test case which we had like defined over here. The name of this particular build or test case is like this. So it is using sample test Google search. Now let's click on this one and see the test case is completed within 4 seconds. Let's click over here. Lambdatest is providing you a good way of seeing the test results. So let's simply play this video. The test execution was quite fast, so we cannot see like additional steps performed. It is simply launching the Google and it's closing the driver, right? So let's do another let's add additional steps in our test case so that we can be very sure that the test case is getting executed in our in the Lambda test as we expect. Head over to google.com and just see this particular element. The element name is name queue. So what I'll do is I will add another step. After launching google.com, what I'll do is I will simply type driver dot find element by dot name, and it should be queue dot send keys cross browser testing is fun. After entering this particular key, what I'll do is I'll simply enter submit button by dot name queue dot submit and wait for 3 seconds and quit the browser. Let's save this test case and I will rename this first to second. The build should be second build. Lambda test execution. It is not necessarily it is not mandatory to you to change this particular details. If you have left it to the previous one, another transaction will be recorded in here in Lambda test website. Under this particular build, you will see there are two test execution. Okay, so let's run this test case again. Right click, run this test case, Java application, click OK. So you can see that there's another transaction getting recorded and it shows that it is running the test case. I see there is an additional thing which is recorded here. I see that the test case has been completed. Let's open it and see how the test case worked. See? So whatever we have written has been searched. It's waiting for 3 seconds and then it's closing the browser. Our test execution completes. Now let's see how we can run the same test case which we had executed right now on Windows 10 environment to be executed in a Mac machine on um, Firefox browser, okay, or version, whatever version we want. Let's head over to Google, uh, Lambdatest uh, capability builder. What it will be, what it will provide you a link using which one can build a capability. Okay, so I'll use this particular link. You will be presented with this particular screen. Let's click on Selenium 4 since we are using Selenium 4 version, and let's change our operating system from Windows machine to uh, Catalina, and let's use Firefox browser. And since suppose we want to use Firefox browser version 94, so here are the list of capabilities which has been given to us, which is like Firefox browser. So let me copy this particular piece of code and replace the browser name and browser version first. So what we have done is we have changed the browser name and its version, and let's change the operating system name as Catalina. Save it, and let's run this particular test case again. Lambda test Google search in Mac. Let's run this test case again. Right click, run as Java application. So if you can see, there is another transaction getting recorded under the same build, and see that the test case has already been completed. Let's click on this one and see there is an Apple logo being presented, which means that it must have used Mac machine. So what it has done is it is using Firefox, and it searched the same keyword which we had searched, and it has closed it. I hope you have learned something today, and you have learned how one can use Selenium to connect a cloud-based service provider for executing their test cases. It's a pretty basic test case which I have presented to you today. In upcoming videos, we will be seeing how we can use Lambdatest for running our test cases in parallel in different operating systems using TestNG framework. So thank you so much for watching, and if you have liked this video, please do like this and subscribe it. It will be helpful for me for adding new contents. Thank you so much. Bye.